The real question is, why are Wall Street and the Fed so hysterically opposed to 1207?
Federal Reserve, the unelected central bank of the United States.
We need to correct that. It's a tremendous opportunity right now for us to find out more about the Federal Reserve.
Create trillions of dollars out of thin air. You as a congressman should want to know where it's going.
I have been informed that the majority plans to block consideration of this amendment, which is number 1367, regarding the transparency at the Federal Reserve.
The little bit more skeptical side of me wonders, do you think that there might be some corruption going on there? I mean, how can the chairman of the Federal Reserve have no idea where some of this money went?
Yeah. It's called HR 1207, and it's to audit the Federal Reserve.
Independent to them means secrecy, do whatever they want, spend trillions of dollars, bail out their friends.
You know, there's an effort in Congress and now in the House in particular to audit what the Federal Reserve does, particularly in monetary policy. How do you feel about that?
It's going to demand information from the members of the FOMC. It's going to evaluate your decision as a report to Congress. I don't think that's consistent with independence. So we are completely open providing any information.
The Federal Reserve still doesn't think that they deserve to be audited, even as they carry trillions of dollars of assets on their books held against U.S. taxpayer money. Still, no audit, Ben Bernanke said.
So are you telling me that nobody at the Federal Reserve is keeping track on a regular basis of the losses?
Information. We are not in a position to say whether there are losses or to respond in any other way.
This doesn't feel right. And some people are getting downright angry. And that includes a lot of members of Congress.
Bank of America Merrill Lynch merger makes the case for a significant increase in accountability at the Fed.
Since I wrote the bill, and the intention, and I know what the intentions are, has nothing to do with interference with monetary policy or interest rates manipulation.
That would effectively be a takeover of monetary policy by the Congress, a repudiation of the independence of the Federal Reserve, which would be highly destructive to the stability of the financial system, the dollar, and our national economic situation.
It would be the opposite. I think the fact that they can double the money supply like they did in the last year, that is a horrendous amount of inflation. If you double the money supply, that means that eventually you'll have less money.
And what goes on with our currency. Frankly, it's Congress that is constitutionally required to be the one that is to have oversight of currency under Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution.
People have joined in this effort around the country, as well as the members of Congress.
Certain things we don't want you to know what we're doing when we're talking to foreign central banks, foreign governments, international organizations. What kind of agreements do we have with the IMF? We have an obligation, a moral obligation here in the Congress to know.
We don't want anything that would endanger the integrity of monetary policy.
But the Federal Reserve is a government unto itself. Just think, you've mentioned already that there are trillions of dollars involved, and they're not appropriated. So it's an entirely unconstitutional process of bailing out people off budget.
It's not a democracy.
It's an outrage.
It makes me laugh because when you really put all the pieces together, it makes you think about moving to Russia sometimes. Anyway.
When does a dam burst? Is it the final drop that actually bursts the dam? Or is it all the thousands and millions of small little drops that contributed to the fact that the dam was finally bursting? It's self-evident.
What are you saying here? You want to have a super secretive organization that produces the money and then doesn't have to tell us where it's going? I mean,
The Congress would have the authority anytime to ask the GAO to come in and audit and look at and evaluate the monetary policy decisions made by the Fed. That's not consistent with independence.
And they believe that they don't even have the obligation to tell you, come on now, let's stand up. This is long overdue. This should have been done 95 years ago.
There is a grassroots movement that looks beyond what they're doing. We see what they're doing and we don't like it. So what we did was to add a couple of drops, and finally the dam will burst. This is a long-term struggle and a long-term fight. We, the movement, the Ron Paul movement, we're going to keep pounding. We're going to keep pounding, 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 pounding. And eventually, the dam will burst. The truth will come out.